Hello everyone, so I thought we'd do something kind of simple but fun today, and that is take a look at some big box versions of my favorite game of all time, SimCity. It's kind of like a first love for me. It's really the first game I played on PC, other than some basically PC console units like the old Text Instrument. But on the PC, this was really the first, and I remember this game, playing this game on my 386, and honestly, I played it, partly because it was one of the few games I could actually play on that 386, 20 or so megahertz. It didn't actually even play that well, but it did play. And I didn't have the box. I actually just had the diskette floppy disk. And my dad got it from somewhere. I don't even know where he got that from, but I was laying around and we installed it, and I just thought it was the best thing ever, basically, at that point in time. And I still really like SimCity. I like the series, and I've pretty much purchased every version of it that I could find on eBay here in the last several years. None of these, unfortunately, are original to me that I had back in the day, because I think I only had like a version of SimCity Classic, which I'll show here, but I have, in fact, amassed quite a group of these big box SimCity games. Big box in general, I've managed to amass quite a collection. It's not like they're making any more of these, and they really are, to me, a work of art, so I will be sharing more in the future. But today I just kind of want to go through pretty expeditiously my whole SimCity big box collection and share that with you, because I don't think I'm missing too much. I think I have quite a few of the different versions, and I wanted to start with this one because as far as I know, the very first mass distribution of SimCity, which I believe was in '89, I think the first version actually came out in '87, but I'm not sure actually a commercial release like this until '89. So this actually has 1989 on it. And you'll notice that it's got this Godzilla-looking creature on it with red eyes. And there is actually a monster in the game that looks like a giant lizard, walks around and destroys parts of your city. But the story goes that, of course, that's a potential copyright infringement there, being so much Godzilla-like, that they actually had to change it. Yeah, I'll open a version here. This one's still in plastic. Oh, there's another one. So this one's sometimes called the Godzilla box because of Godzilla on it, even though it's not really Godzilla. I mean, it looks so similar that they kind of got in trouble for that. Just opening it real quick. This version has both the 5 1/4 and 3.5 inch disc. We've got the old manual there. I really like looking through these old boxes. This game is 30 years old now. SimCity all-time high scores. Yeah, this is before the internet, right? So they actually send out these scorecards, and you could write in and tell them that you beat the all-time high, and so forth. And here's order form, catalog order, again pre-internet. If you don't have a store nearby where you're going to order these from, well, you can get the special edition or the SimCity editor, train editor, which I do have. I will show it. Yeah, I remember these. I remember installing this on my 386, and I remember it taking forever. It's probably partly because that's a nice little box that just slides in and out of here. Partly because it was 386. And actually, this was a pretty advanced game for that era of computing. That's what the back looks like. It's got some different screenshots. I wasn't sure. So this is which one you have, the IBM EGA, Amiga screen, and then Macintosh, the two different Macintosh screens there. So that's kind of neat. But yeah, I just kind of looked at this box as like all these dials and everything. It just looked like, you're in control. You're really building the city. You're in control of everyone. It's appealing. The Commodore version. So I got that. So this one is, this one's IBM, the other one's Macintosh, this one is Commodore, and as I mentioned, they had to replace Godzilla there. They couldn't use Godzilla anymore. So this one is a 1989 copyright, 1991. So it probably came out in 90-91, and I don't think the interior of the box changed much. Your floppies, this one's still plastic. Got some different cards in here. Software Toys catalog. Yeah, I think this might be the first Maxis catalog, basically. You got SimAnt in there, was out by that time, SimEarth. So this probably was more like 1991 when this came out. And we'll have to take a closer look at these older boxes here. I just really like the art style of the box that SimCity came in originally. Now, the original SimCity, I have a few more versions. This one's MacPlay. Enhanced. I think, yeah, this is the one where, I don't know if you can see that, but it had videos, the various people that help you play the game, your advisors, they come on and have these really wacky videos. And the graphics were upgraded a little bit, and I don't know, just looked like they had a little more detail or a little more crisp. And that was fun, although I was honestly kind of annoyed by the videos. So, and this is another version of that, released by Interplay, but cinematic multimedia CD-ROM, DOS. So it's a DOS version, but it's a CD-ROM, and again, it's just a different box, but it's the enhanced SimCity. So it has the it has those wacky DVD or video segments. Let's see, more original boxes. Well, of course, that box did not last. By 1993, they had this whole series of games, and we've got SimAnt, SimEarth, SimFarm, I think was out by then, and maybe some other stuff I'm not recalling right away. But to kind of fit it in to that group and make it all part of a series of games, they basically rebranded this as SimCity Classic. So you get this classic logo, and that way it fits in with all the other sim games that Maxis had at that point in time. But yeah, pretty nice box. This one's still in plastic wrap, obviously. I've got one over here that has been unwrapped, and look inside. It's only got the 3 1/4 inch disc, so they got rid of the 3.5. They got rid of the 5 1/4, and you get a little more hefty of a manual in this one, but pretty similar. And if you played these games as a kid or whatever, I'm sure you remember this manual. So this is the one I remember. And at this point in time, Maxis had quite a few games in their manual. Warranty card. Yeah, no more all-time high scores in this one. I think they moved beyond that point, but you could still order games. You could still catalog order games. The internet in 1993, I doubt they had much of an internet presence at all on Maxis at that time. And yes, for the younger people out there, this is before Maxis was bought up by EA. That didn't happen until, I believe, 1999. So they operated for over 10 years independently. Those were the best years. Another version This one truly is a big box. Right, when you compare it to this one, and then of course the original box, it's a bit smaller. So this is a full-size big box, and this again is the enhanced edition. So they actually released several versions of, you know, even just the enhanced version of this game, and you can see some of the weird videos on there. I actually don't even have that version installed. I've got a different Windows version installed on my main vintage computer, but I was just never a fan of the videos. And I was like, I usually just turn them off, so why have it if I'm not going to use it? Alright, still on the original SimCity, right? It was originally released in 1989, then you get all of these copies in different versions. So SimCity did make its way over to the, this is the Amiga, and I think this was mainly sold in Europe, but man, I love the box art. Now, this is even smaller box than the original release, but I don't know, there's something about these small boxes. This image of the city, and it kind of turns into, you know, kind of a cartoonish version of the city. I really like that. Infogrames, it's a little armadillo, has different languages on the back, really kind of neat. And then I've got the Architecture 2 and Architecture 1, so the two expansions. And this future city had, let's see, USA 2055, Moon Base, and I think something even further into the future, there was like a 2155 version. So you could go to the near future, far future, and then Moon Base. And I think Moon Base was always my favorite to play. But that was cool. They actually shipped, at least originally, in different boxes. And I do have the PC version of the different graphics, and this one has both future cities and ancient cities, so this came with a lot of diskettes. But you also had, in addition to those future versions, you could load graphics for, so you think there's a medieval, Wild West, and ancient Asia. I don't know if I ever played ancient Asia. I can go back and play some of these other skins. I mean, the game played, you know, just the same as regular old SimCity, but looked differently. Either historical or someone's version of the future. Let's see, what else do I have? I think that's, no, I actually have a couple other things for the original SimCity. This was just a release where there's just the CD-ROM, and they didn't even bother to put it in a box. We've got the SimCity terrain editor. Yeah, you could buy that. You buy that separately. I'm not even sure how much this thing costs, but I think it was like $20 or $30 just to get the terrain editor. So that was back when they sold, you know, just vanilla SimCity without the terrain editor, and then you could, I guess, use the catalog and buy that separately. And then, again, originally before SimCity Classic, back when it was just SimCity in the box, you have to order the Ancient City expansion, the Future City expansion, some serious DLC here in their own flip-out containers. I always thought this was kind of neat. So the disc would go in there, and then you'd have the manual in there. I thought that was kind of cool. So this actually came with the terrain editor as well as the graphics. So that's kind of neat. Got those. I never had those as a kid, but I saw them on eBay, and I'm like, what are those? It's because I never had any of that. I did eventually get SimCity Classic, which I think had at least the terrain editor, and then I bought the Future this one here later in like maybe 1994, something like that. But I never had these. Okay, after the original SimCity, of course, SimCity 2000 was the big sequel to that game, and I loved the original SimCity, but SimCity 2000 just blew it away. Freaking love SimCity 2000 so much. I cannot even tell you how much I love SimCity 2000, but I did manage to convince my parents to buy a $3,000 486 DX2 50 megahertz system. I have no idea where that money came from, but managed to do it, pleading for months. You know why? It was mainly to play this game. So I've got a few different versions of this. This is obviously a review copy, and I guess it has a sticker on it. But man, this game was fun. It was a ton of fun. It's still fun. I still play it every once in a while. And they released version after version of SimCity 2000. This is the CD collection, which comes with the Urban Renewal Kit, which is really neat. You can make your own. It's kind of like City Skylines Workshop. You can make your own buildings and so forth. Scenario Volume 1 and bonus cities and scenarios. So that was pretty cool. It was all together. Speaking of which, I got the scenario box. It was back when it came in its own box. I got the Urban Renewal Kit, still in plastic. Man, this was just my favorite back in the day. And the scenarios separate. So, just like today, you can buy them separate as they come out, or wait until there's a gold edition or a collector's edition or something like that, and buy them all at one time. It pretty much worked exactly the same way as today with Steam and so forth, except you're physically buying these boxes, which is a lost art essentially. Oh, here's another Urban Renewal Kit. And got the manual or the catalog. And this one's really musty. I think someone had this in their basement or garage or something for a while. And the manuals keep getting seemingly more and more involved. Most of my SimCity 2000s are actually in plastic, but I have the special edition, which came with all that stuff the other one came with, but even some additional stuff, including an interview by Will Wright, who of course invented SimCity, produced the original game, and comes in a CD. I still have the receipt for this one. Best Buy, $22. And that was from Lincoln, Nebraska. And that was 1998, June of 1998. And the manuals are just significant at this point. That's not even the only one. It's got a separate one for the Urban Renewal Kit. Coming soon, guys. SimCity 3000. Yep. Getting into the late 90s there. This one too, the network edition. So I think you could play online with this one. This is another version that I did not have at all growing up, but I love the art. I love the art on this box with the bridge and everything. It's a bit different. I really like the art on all these boxes, in fact, but something about this one that I really like, kind of playing up the transportation part of it. You can play the most celebrated sim game over LAN or the internet or modem. This came out in 1996, so it's pretty early, but things were getting started. StarCraft was released that year, and the online stuff really started picking up. Here it is, SimCity 3000. Now, it actually took me a while to get into SimCity 3000, but once I did, I just really didn't look back that much. SimCity 2000 is a great game, but SimCity 3000 was, again, another really good step up. Here's a franchise where, at least for a while, each successive game was just amazing in its own right, and surpassed the one before. At least I think so. But yeah, I really liked SimCity 3000, and I still play this one too, a decent amount. Still with pretty hefty manuals, and at this point, it's all It's all CD. And speaking of other versions and DLC add-ons and so forth, this is the SimCity 3000 Unlimited, and this added some new skins to the game, kind of like ancient cities, future cities of the original SimCity, but mainly this was bringing in different architecture sets. So you had a European architectural style and Asian architectural style, in addition to the vanilla. And it had some other stuff in addition. I think it had some different terrains. It's really been too long since I've played SimCity 3000. I have to do that sometime soon. #1 PC game of 1999. So I think I can find I don't see the EA logo on here, but this was around the time that EA took over and bought Maxis. And I can't remember if they did that before or after SimCity 3000 was released, but yeah, I'd say though, Maxis kind of, well, I wouldn't say they went downhill right away, but they were never quite the same after bought by EA as issues like many other developers. And I kind of skipped over Streets of SimCity because it's not really core SimCity game, but you could take your it was originally SimCity 2000 cities and essentially put them into this game and drive around your cities. And actually there was something called SimCopter, and I'll go grab that here in a second and just pause the video for a moment. But yeah, you could either drive around your city in your SimCity 2000 city, or you could fly around it in the game SimCopter. And I'm going to go grab that so I can show that to you before I get any further here. Actually, you know what? I'm almost done. I'm almost through the whole thing. So the only thing I've got left, and then I'll go grab SimCopter. Because who doesn't want to see that? You know what? I want to show you what's inside of SimCity 3000 Unlimited. It's this thing, this manual. I mean, it's as thick as strategy guides, at the time. Really amazing, these manuals. It's not really too musty or anything either. It's got an ad for SimCoaster in there. I just love these manuals. I think that the fact that you don't get these manuals anymore. I mean, you can download PDFs and that sort of thing, but the fact that you don't have big, thick, artsy manuals like this anymore is kind of it's a tragedy. I mean, I think that's probably taken a little too far, but it's a real bummer. They don't have those anymore. I just love those, and there were various points in time where I simply didn't have a computer fast enough to run some of the games, but I'd buy them anyway, and I would read the manual like word for word, front to back, and I would know everything about that game before I ever played it, before I ever had a machine. SimCity 2000 was one of those. Yep. I managed to get my hands on a strategy guide that I probably got like EB Games or something like that, and I read that thing over and over again, and I was an expert before I ever played the game. I wanted to play that game so bad. I don't think there is another game ever that I've won as much as SimCity 2000. Okay, I think that's... Oh wait, how could I forget? One more. SimCity 4. Alright, and as far as I'm concerned, this is where SimCity ended. Right here, SimCity 4. I do actually have a physical copy, believe it or not, of the SimCity 2013. In fact, I think I'll go grab it. This one, this version of SimCity 4 is the deluxe edition, so it actually came with Rush Hour, and I did love this game. I still love SimCity 4, and the nice thing is, of course, through Steam and so forth, you can still play it on a modern system. And to be perfectly honest, I think this game holds up pretty well. I mean, it came out in 2003, so it's 16 years old as I'm making this video. It's still a heck of a lot of fun, and I still think that the architectural styles in this game and the fact that you had like really modern architecture as well as like old New York and old Chicago has not been surpassed. I mean, not even close. One of the things that I don't really like about City Skylines, in fact, is the architecture. I just think it's kind of bland compared to SimCity 4, and I would be ecstatic if somehow we could just have an updated version of SimCity 4. I would be quite happy. Okay, so let me grab a couple things, SimCopter real quick, and my nice new 10 version of SimCity 2013. Okay, I've got some bonus materials for those of you who have stuck it out this long. It's amazing. The ZX Spectrum version of the original SimCity here. And I don't know, it looks oddly beige. I don't know if you can see that. But now I wanna, I've never played this version, but now I kinda want to, I'm curious. SimCopter? I've got 2 versions. That's how much of a nerd I am. I got 2 versions of SimCopter. And this one looks kind of orange, more orange to me, and this one more red. But of course, the big difference is that this one came with glasses. Oh yeah, it came with aviators, so you could just pretend you're a true helicopter pilot. I don't know. The Sim Golf version came with a golf ball. At least one version of it did. So they kind of went through this phase where they had like it's almost like McDonald's toy or something like that. It came with a little extra item there. So it was an interesting game. It was a weird game. Didn't play much SimCopter because the graphics were terrible. They were terrible even back in the day. They weren't very good. But that's just like my opinion. Raid on Bungling Bay. I realize you can't see it very well. So this game is what inspired Will Wright to make SimCity. Basically, he was making a game where you go around in a helicopter, which may have inspired this, in fact, too. But you go around in a helicopter and shoot things. But he realized in the making of it, they actually enjoyed making the cityscape that he was bombing with the helicopter more than the actual helicopter bombing runs. So this game inspired him to make a game about making cities. A software toy, if you will, instead of the games that dominated the time, which were basically just action games. You didn't really have these kind of sandbox, open-ended kind of games that SimCity really made into a whole genre, essentially. Can't remember much before that. And we all know what this is. This is the ill-fated 2013 versions. You could call it SimCity 5. It didn't have the official title, but that's basically what it was. And now all of a sudden, if you're wondering why I'm pausing, it's because I just realized that I also, somewhere, I don't know where it is, but somewhere I do have SimCity Societies as well. So between SimCity 4 and the SimCity 2013 was a game called SimCity Societies, which I never really could play or get into. I mean, the graphics weren't very good, gameplay wasn't great, but it did offer a sort of novel way of playing the game, and I was looking more at sort of social interactions between different groups within the city. And that was a bit different than focusing on, say, infrastructure mainly, or zoning and basic planning. But this is kind of neat. This is in one of those steel books, and I'll say this about 2013: it's not a terrible game. I mean, the fact that the map sizes are so small totally ruined it for me. I couldn't play it, but graphically, it's a pretty game. I actually, in terms of the architecture and the overall style of the game, I actually prefer this to City Skylines, and that might make me a little bit of an outcast, but SimCity's always had great styling, and I think if they had bigger maps and they'd fixed some of the basic pathfinding stuff of Glassbox, which was the engine it used, you know, it probably would have been actually quite a good sequel for SimCity 3000, but we will never know, unfortunately. So that's my big box SimCity collection. There's probably a few other things that I've missed that I've got in various places around the house, but I think that's the bulk of it. So thanks again for watching, for sticking in there to the end, and you know, let me know about your collection if you have one, or what your favorite game was, or what your experience was with these games growing up. I always like hearing about that and sharing that. So thanks again for watching, and catch you next time.